to solve one.
Good evening, Tom.
Good evening, sir. How are you tonight? Back to the docks, are we?
You remember me then?
Of course I do. You're that man who seemed so lost when he entered my bar a few nights ago.
Thank you for your hospitality. I'm Jonathan Reed, by the way.
I'm still Tom Watts. Welcome back, Doctor.
What can you tell me about this part of town?
It's not that bad. Thanks to people like the sad saint of the East End.
Who?
Sean Hampton, our own private holy figure. Few are foolish enough to make peace with the gangs. Sean is one of them.
How is it you can keep this place open? This part of town doesn't seem particularly safe.
Well, since everybody needs a drink, my pub is considered neutral ground by most groups.
Since I'm here, is there anything I can do?
Well, perhaps, Doctor. Peace partly depends on my stock of gin. With the epidemic, my supplies are running low.
How could a physician help you in this matter?
I have a small warehouse just past the quarantine line. Perhaps, with you being a doctor, you could go there and come back?
Doctors aren't immune to disease, you know. Very well. Show me where it is. I'll see what I can do.
Oh, thank you, sir. Here's the key to get in. You're about to save many dry throats.
I see. So you get pressure from all sides about how this place should be run, do you?
Well, something like that. Nothing that a few wise words and a bottle of gin can't solve.
You're something of a figurehead around here.
I'm only pouring alcohol for everyone to forget their troubles. Sean Hampton is the one giving them long-term hope.
Why does your waitress feel in danger working on the docks?
This part of town is dangerous for all, but for women it's worse, as always. Sabrina is a brave girl, but she can't help feeling in danger.
Do you think she has good reason to feel this way? Are you not worried about her safety?
Of course I am. The truth is, she's tougher than me deep inside. She just has to learn to control it.
Sabrina seems very fond of you, Tom.
I like her too, I really do. I know I'm her boss, and I'm much older and all. But I like her for sure.
What is bothering you then?
Sabrina is an angry one. She wears it like a coat. I'm not sure I can make her shed that anger. It hurts to see her like that.
Do you need any help?
I'm all right, Dr. Reed.
Tom, I need to find Sean Hampton as quickly as possible. I've been told you could help me.
I heard the sad saint was recovering at Pembroke Hospital. Did he leave or something?
I believe he returned to his flock. Can you confirm that?
Oh, I bet you're right. Sean can't help but worry about the poor and sick. Oh, I guess it has something to do with what happened to him as a baby.
Please, tell me.
Well, I don't like to gossip, but I heard that the sad saint was abandoned as a baby in front of a Catholic orphanage in Dublin. That would explain his faith and need to help everyone.
The important thing is I find him, quickly.
Why not try his night asylum? He takes care of those who need a meal or a roof there.
Where is it?
It's in an old warehouse, northwest of here. Just follow the bank to the west and go north when you reach the end of the pier.
Goodbye, Mr. Watts.
Time to get out of this bullshit mess. No. So few clients. With the epidemic, no one dares go outside. Times like these, a good drink's just as likely to cause them.
It's a good thing you cannot see me now.
Should have offered a drink to the boy.
Not long ago,
Be he
this
cursed or
mess
not,
was
he's
in
just
the
a
air.
lost orphan.
Without the wet boots keeping things straight, these parks would be running completely amok.
Surely something can be done to get out of this bullshit mess.
It ain't human! Kill He's done for! Fucking lost! Burn it, boys!
It's locked.
Over there! There's one of them vermin!
I cannot enter. Tom has so much alcohol, he could keep this district afloat for quite some time.
I can't say, but whatever did this carefully avoided the obstacles. We found ourselves a bloody artist.
Seems like the guard of Pruen is on Sean Hampton's trail, too.
Bloody monster! Watch out! Burn it, boys! This one's mine! Crush the leech, boys! Die, vermin! Die, leech!
some of this? You're mine, vermin! Die, vermin! I hate you like this! Die, beast! Burn it, boys! You leeches, you killer!
The wounds on this corpse are deep, the result of rabid rage. If this is Sean's doing, he's become a murderous beast.
Sir, no civilians allowed. Are you bloody stupid? This one's mine! We cannot
Please, sir. Come and have a gander. Are you certain you're not lost, sir?
It's been a while since you last paid me a visit.
I came to visit you last night. Don't you recall?
Good evening, miss. I'm Dr. Jonathan Reed. May I come in?
I already took my medication, Doctor. But thank you.
I'm sorry. Your medication? Have we met before?
Don't tease me like that, Jack. Sorry, what?
I think I should come in, miss. I'd like to check if everything is okay, what with the epidemic spreading across London.
An epidemic, you say? How terrible. I had no idea. But where are my manners? Please do come in, Doctor. You are a doctor, yes?
I know I've got something that'll strike your fancy. If not, I'll find you something.
So, Dr. Tippett, what brings you back here? I heard whispers you had a job at that fancy hospital.
I told you my name is Jonathan Reed. Don't you remember?
Of course I do. I remember my name too. Gillingham. But you may call me Enid, Doctor. I'm very happy to see you again.
Is anyone taking care of you, Miss Gillingham?
My son is always here to take care of me. He's a good boy like that, but I do worry that he needs to start living his own life. Well, I would never say that to him, of course.
What can you tell me about this part of town?
Oh, no. I don't gossip. That would be most unbecoming of a lady such as myself.
Who are the more influential figures on the docks?
Well, I heard about some terrible illness going around. I would say in that case that it's you, Dr. Tippets.
Enid, have you really no idea what happened to your son? No idea at all?
I've not seen Jack for so long. I lose track of time. Has something bad happened to him?
Jack takes good care of you, Miss Gillingham.
He does indeed. My Jack is the best son a mother could ask for.
Do you require medical attention, miss?
I'm glad you asked, Dr. Tippets. I must confess I haven't felt that well of late.
I'll try my best. Here, take this. And please, try to get some rest.
Thank you, Doctor. Thank you very much.
I'm looking for a Sean Hampton. Do you know where I might find him?
Sean Hampton, you say? Oh, the name does seem vaguely familiar, but alas, I cannot recall from where.
I found this watch. It was a gift from you to your boy, wasn't it? I think it should return to you now.
Oh, I remember. Yes, I recall the day I offered Jack this watch. Oh, it was such a beautiful day. Thank you, sir.
Trinkets and possessions help us remember our past. Promise me you'll not lose it.
I would never lose anything that belonged to Jack. Why don't you take this? Dr. Tippets? Please, for your charity.
Goodbye, Miss Gillingham. It's locked.
Are you certain you're not lost, sir? You seem quite the stranger to these parts. Please, sir. I know I've got something that'll strike your fancy. If not, I'll find you something.
Good evening. I'm Dr. Reed. Do you need any help?
Rest assured, I will help you, sir. Martin Nightingale, at your service. Please, take a look at my wares.
Your merchandise. I don't really see anything worth having. No offense.
None taken, sir. But please, I need to eat. Perhaps if you keep looking, you'd see something that takes your fancy.
Let me be frank. You're as much of a businessman as I am a werewolf. right?
Who the hell are you to question me? It's hard enough to stay clean when you don't have a place to sleep. I'm doing my best here.
I meant no offense, Mr. Nightingale. I was merely pointing out the fact that you're unlikely to survive long if you continue wandering this path.
And what should I do then, sir? Should I join the wet boot boys like so many others? No thanks. I'd rather be a bad seller than a dead gang member.
What can you tell me about the neighborhood? Have you got any friends around these parts?
Not really. Miss Gillingham smiles and says kind words, but I know she's lost her marbles, especially since her son died.
Tell me about this crazy woman. Madness is often mistaken for other conditions.
The poor woman's mad, all right. Kind and all, but she has so much trouble remembering things. She's taken me for a son more than once.
How interesting. I don't suppose you know what happened to her son.
Jack! Rumour has it he tried to tackle some gang lads. I didn't know him well, but I heard he was a nice enough chap. His old ma still thinks he's around.
Why not try seeking help instead of peddling your wares? I'm sure there are people around here that would gladly help.
There's always the night asylum. I heard it's run by a very nice man, but I'm no beggar. Not yet, at least.
There is no shame in asking for help, my boy. Sometimes it can even be the best course of action.
I don't feel okay with that. I'm gonna make a name for myself, and I'll do it by myself.
Young man, do you require medical attention?
I'm perfectly fine, thank you.
I'm looking for Sean Hampton. Can you help me?
He's a caretaker for the poor, is he not?
Something like that, yes.
Sorry, I don't know where he is.
Show me what you have to offer then, Mr. Nightingale.
Please, sir! Come and have a gander!
Good evening, Miss Gillingham. May I come in?
Of course, of course.
Are you certain you're not lost, sir? You seem quite a stranger to these parts.
So, Dr. Tippets, what brings you back here? We haven't talked in quite some time.
Goodbye, Miss Gillingham.
Something. Please, sir! Come and have a gander.
Informing London's inhabitants of the presence of vampires. What does that make me? A double or a triple agent?
This is no place for you, sir. Step away, sir.
There's one of us. Shall prevail. Bloody leech.
It's locked.
This signal worries me. Perhaps Sean knows something about him. You I'd make everything right, Mum, but it's not been that simple.
Good evening, miss. I'm Dr. Jonathan Reed. Can I help you?
A fancy doctor lurking at night by the docks? Not fishy at all.
And what about you? Working outside at night in this dangerous part of town?
You want to know my secret? I'm trying to earn money. And I'm Lottie Paxton, by the way.
Is it not dangerous to work here at night?
As long as I have good legs, I can run away from trouble. The sad saint now provides me and my sister a bed and a roof. I don't want to lose that.
Are you homeless, Miss Paxton?
Mr. Hampton's night asylum is our new home now. It's a safe place for me and my sister.
What can you tell me about the Sad Saint?
It's just the nickname of Sean Hampton, the sad saint of the East End. He gave me shelter. And he's not always sad.
What can you tell me about this place? How are things here?
It may be okay for a strong girl like me, but a dandy doctor from the city like yourself, you better watch your back, Mr. Reed.
You really think I should go back to a safer place, miss?
No. I think you had better stay and help as many people as you can. Just avoid the wet boot boys. Those bastards are worse than the epidemic.
Which local dangers must I avoid?
Well, the gangs, the thieves, the drunks, the jobless. A man with your fancy clothes will attract a lot of attention.
Well, I am not someone so easily intimidated.
Glad to hear that.
And if you get into trouble, you can always seek help at Hampton's shelter. No one would dare to be violent there.
Lottie, tell me about the death of your mother.
Giselle killed her. Plain and simple. She killed her with her daily whims, her laziness, and her complaints.
That's quite a statement. You can't kill someone because you're fickle.
Mother was very ill, but I forgave Giselle. What I couldn't stand was how she cried at her funeral like she was the one left alone.
Perhaps your sister is not as tough as you are.
I know that, and I don't blame her. It just makes me sad that my own sister is the person I understand the least.
Giselle is the only family you have left. Don't you think it's time you forgave her?
Sometimes words are harder to forgive than acts, Dr. Reed.
Do you need my medical attention, Miss Paxton?
I'm fine, Dr. Reed. Keep your medicine for those who need it.
I'm looking for Sean Hampton. Can you help me?
Mr. Hampton must be in his office at the night asylum he manages, I suppose. Why do you want to see him?
He was a patient of mine at the Pembroke Hospital, but he left abruptly.
I see. Well, Mr. Hampton is a discreet and dedicated man. I'm sure you'll find him soon enough.
Goodbye, Miss Paxton.
Come now, Lottie. There is still much work to do.
Why the long face, Doctor?
It looks like we both have changed a lot. I must confess, it saddens me, Sean.
Put your faith in the Lord, Doctor. He has a plan for all of us. We may not always see it, but he does.
Since you left Pembroke, the amount of blood that has been shed, it's hard to believe you, Sean.
Ask what you will. As the Lord is my shepherd, I will not speak a lie to you.
Why return here?
This is my home. These people are my flock. You will always find me where I am needed.
Wonders never cease. Scal managing an asylum.
And what of you? A vampire doctor? Meals laid out before you. Yet you restrain.
And what about William Bishop? He tried to take care of you. But this hunger, this thirst, cannot be restrained.
Alas, poor William. He had a good soul, but was weak in spirit. He could not shake the thirst for booze, never mind blood. But have faith. My will is far stronger than his.
Aren't you afraid of what you've become?
We are blessed, Doctor. Can't you see it? The Lord has made us able to walk amongst the plague and aid those that need it.
Do you think this is a blessing when God's own house and holy symbols repel you?
If that is your burden, Doctor, so be it. But I do not fear the cross, nor am I forced to take the life of another. My kind doesn't share your imperfections.
But you must drink blood now to survive.
No, not your scripture. Whoso eateth my flesh and drinketh my blood hath eternal life, and I will raise him up at the last day. So saith the Lord. I only need to eat flesh, no blood.
Why did you kill Miss Jones at the Pembroke Hospital?
Killed old Harriet? You must be mad, Doctor. Why would I do such a thing?
But you were close to her.
Of course. But she was lost, separated from the fold. She did not see the hand of the divine in my blessed condition.
So you claim Miss Jones' death was not by your hand, nor the other incidents at Pembroke?
Though Harriet was an angry, spiteful woman, she was one of God's creatures. I have nothing but love for all he has made.
People have been murdered. I've seen the blood. I don't believe you can be trusted.
Have a little faith, Doctor. If you will follow, I will guide you to the light.
How do you plan to do that?
Take this key of the old sewers. The entrance is by the riverbank, south from here. There you'll find all the proof you need.
I have to see for myself. But your sense of purpose and calm gives me some relief.
I'll be here when you return. If you still think I'm a threat then, well, I'll surrender myself to your judgment.
It's locked. It's locked, all right.
Glad to see you again, Mr. Reed.
Lottie, tell me about the Wet Boot Boys. I know they've threatened you.
Edwina Cox wanted me to provide her with information about Mr. Hampton's resources. I refused.
Is that not dangerous?
Fuck them and their lies. They claim they protect the interests of the neighborhood, but they are just greedy parasites like all the rest.
I understand your fight, but the gangs are no joke. Are you sure you're safe?
I can defend myself. My only concern is about Giselle. I'm not sure my sister is able to fight anymore.
Goodbye, Miss Paxton.
Come now, Lottie. There is still much work to do.
You again? What do you want?
Giselle, I know you sleep at Sean Hampton's shelter. What can you tell me about him?
He provided a roof for me and my sister. I am grateful, of course, but he gives me the creeps.
Why is that?
He's always sad, like he's about to cry. He's always asking us to get closer to God, to give ourselves to the Lord. Creepy.
What can you tell me about this vicinity?
Tell you what, just spend a few weeks here, and then ask me that question again. If you're still alive, I mean.
Giselle, tell me about the death of your mother.
After our father died, Mother worked so hard she made herself sick. We spent all the money we had on useless drugs and doctors. It was hell.
Hell? What do you mean?
The three of us were exhausted and desperate. And when I'm desperate, I tend to get angry. And I'm hard to live with. Lottie said I killed Mother.
Your sister was suffering too. I'm sure she didn't mean what she said.
I don't want to talk about that. It was years ago. We Paxton sisters are tough. We don't apologize.
Well, I'll leave you for now. Goodbye, Miss Paxton. Good evening, Mr. Throgmorton.
Dr. Reed, can I be of any assistance? Have you noticed anything suspicious lately?
You've never faced, let alone killed, a vampire, Ichabod. You're a fraud.
No, I'm not. I may embellish the truth concerning my achievements, but I'm totally dedicated to my quest.
Stop fooling yourself. You've never faced a vampire before. You wouldn't stand a chance.
Well, that's not true, sir. I've already faced one of these creatures.
Oh, really? And you're still alive.
Well, we did not actually fight. I let it go.
What do you mean?
I entered the vampire's den. The stench was terrible. I was ready to kill it. But then I saw it. Just a suffering soul like you and me. I spared her.
Tell me about the vampire you spared.
It was... She was a girl. Her body was a mess. I could see pus running from the deep wound. She was crying in pain.
You cared about her. That's what defines us as human, Ichabod.
Yes, but she was a truly evil creature. I'm haunted by the tragedies she caused ever since I spared her.
I put up your public service announcement. Consider the common folk warned about the vampiric presence.
Thank you, Dr. Reed. You may not realize it, but you saved a great many lives today.
Do you really think they could be useful?
See the sad saint of the East End? How a single man can help so many people? I consider myself the discreet protector of these men and women.
Tell me, Ichabod, why do you consider yourself the protector of Sean Hampton's shelter?
He is a truly inspiring example. Dedicated, pious. His shelter is open to all, whoever they are. Most admirable.
Do you need my medical attention, sir?
I appreciate your concern, but I'm perfectly fine, thank you.
Goodbye. And good hunting, Mr. Throckmorton.
Welcome back, Doctor. What can I do for you?
You lied to me, Tom. Your warehouse wasn't empty. It was inhabited with armed vigilantes.
I'm sorry, Dr. Reed, but I thought those Prewen guards would be willing to let someone like you pass without trouble.
That was devious of you, Tom. Next time you can bloody well go yourself.
I apologize, Doctor, but it's just that I prefer to avoid the law, its enforcers, and all manner of thugs in uniform.
Here is your booze. I hope it will appease your customers. Just try not to kill anyone with this poison of yours.
Believe me, Doctor, most of my customers are less agreeable when sober.
Goodbye, Mr. Watts.
So few clients. What with the epidemic, no one dares go outside.
Good evening, Mr. Delaney.
What? Oh, you're that doctor.
Is it true Sean Hampton saved your life?
Yep. The sad saint grabbed my soggy ass and brought me back to the pier after I fell into the canal. I was a wreck back then.
Perhaps I should shut the turquoise for a time.
Were you thankful for what he did for you?
Sean Hampton really acted like a saint that day. But I suppose I'm just another lost soul who doesn't deserve to be saved.
These are good drinks just as likely to cause a problem as to solve one.
Goodbye, Mr. Delaney.
He didn't deserve this.
Someone's playing a right strange game. And I'm gonna find out.
Easy does it, boys. Watch it! It's a killer! It's an itch! Bloody leech! Filthy piece of shit! It's a leech! Kill it! Vermin! Stop it, leech! Leech spotted! Watch out, boys! I shall... Fear no evil!
It's locked, all right. It's locked, all right. Good evening, Nurse Hawkins.
Good evening, Dr. Reed.
Are you sure you want to leave this hospital?
To become a nurse was a little girl's dream. But in the end, I don't feel that useful. I want more. I want to make things change.
But you're doing something important here. For all the patients who need your help.
We save lives, sure. Each time we send a cured patient home, it's a relief beyond words. But since the epidemic, I feel so powerless.
What steps are you prepared to take to feel more useful?
I don't know yet. My sister believes that the real fight is in the streets nowadays. Maybe she's right. Maybe this is what I must do.
And what about Milton Hooks? Does he share your point of view?
For Milton, any change means more comfort and more peace. I disagree.
If you feel that saving lives is not useful enough, perhaps it means that you've lost faith.
On the contrary, my faith has never been stronger. Maybe we are all just too proud to face up to the fact that science cannot compete with God.
Goodbye, Nurse Hawkins.
Damn. The pain.
Much energy for so little result.
How are you this evening, Jonathan?
The scowl that escaped from the hospital is eluding me. He must be caught.
Scowls are a risk to the balance we maintain. It needs to be stopped.
You certainly hate scowls.
No, not hate. I pity them. Damaged and broken for eternity. Can you imagine, Jonathan? Can you imagine what they must be suffering?
I would not have labeled them all the same. I've met some that are quite clever, in fact. Much like people.
I am sorry. You should know scowl is derived from slave. Vampires have never looked kindly on their lesser progeny.
Do you think they can be trusted?
They are weaker than us in every sense. From their abilities to being able to control their hunger. There is a savagery in them.
The head of the guard of Prewan stopped by to see Dr. Swansea.
You have nothing to fear. The guard would not risk openly challenging the Brotherhood. Even they are not that foolish.
Now that the hunters are aware of my presence, they could discover your whereabouts too.
Don't worry. I've evaded those jackals in the past, and I shall do so in the future. And besides, who would ever suspect the kind Samaritan Lady Ashbury?
I noticed there was no love lost between the Brotherhood and the Guard.
They share the same fascination in our species, but they diverge from any commonality in thought. Talk to Dr. Swansea if you wish to know more.
When we were at the funeral, I had a feeling. I think I met my maker.
You do not have to tell me if you don't wish to.
Should I not?
In most circumstances, a vampire would not discuss his maker. There is a strong bond that exists between a maker and their progeny.
There is almost nothing to say. He appeared in a gush of blood, prattled off some riddles, and vanished without even telling me his name.
Be on guard, Jonathan. Whoever your maker is, he's obviously as powerful as he is elusive.
Goodbye for now, my lady.
Jonathan, have you got any news about Sean Hampton?
I'm still investigating. In the meantime, I have some questions.
All right, just ask.
Tell me, Edgar, how did you meet Lady Ashbury?
I met her 9 years ago. I was working in Scotland at the time in a sanatorium the good lady visited from time to time. She subsequently offered me a position here, at the Pembroke Hospital.
Why offer you this position?
I'd already been experimenting with blood-borne diseases and transfusion methods. Without success, I'm afraid. How could I refuse such a fascinating creature? So, in 1911, I took charge of the Pembroke.
Pembroke Hospital? Why that name?
I'm not quite sure. I think it's meant to refer to the Earl of Pembroke. Perhaps it's someone she used to know?
Tell me, Edgar, have you ever heard about a vampire made of blood? I mean, without any physical form, but a shape of blood.
What are you talking about? Have you seen such a phenomenon yourself?
No. I was just daydreaming. Since blood seems to be the key of our existence, I imagined what could be the ultimate state of a vampire.
I see. Well, too bad you didn't see such a creature. It could have been a fascinating subject of observation.
What is the antagonism between your Brotherhood of St. Paul's Stole and the Guard of Prewin?
It is an old and sad story, Jonathan. The story of a betrayal and of a definitive schism.
Who betrayed who?
I suppose each side would tell you the fault lies with the other. This I know for sure. A long time ago, members of the Brotherhood chose to hunt down vampires.
How many are you in the Brotherhood?
You mean today? Not many. A dozen, perhaps even less since the war. We are scholars, Jonathan. We favor quality to quantity.
Tell me, Edgar, have you ever heard about a vampire made of blood? I mean, without any physical form, but a shape of blood. The flower's dying. It needs water. Good evening, Nurse Hawkins.
Good evening, Dr. Reed.
Do you need medical help yourself, Nurse?
I'm afraid I've contracted some illness, Dr. Reed.
Not under my watch, Nurse. Take this. You'll feel better.
Thank you, Dr. Reed.
Goodbye, Nurse Hawkins.
A pig scar would smell better.
Hello again, Mr. Blight.
Good evening, Dr. Reed. You doing your rounds as usual?
Do you need medical attention, sir?
Afraid so. In the war, I was always worried about picking up something, getting some infection. Unfortunately, got that fear in London now.
Throughout history, some diseases have done more damage to armies than any weapon created by man. You were wise to be careful.
You're working at the Pembroke Hospital, aren't you? That's a good enough reason for me and Oswald to go there.
Goodbye, Mr. Blight. Take care of yourself.
No less dangerous. I've never seen so many people dying at the same time. Over there! He's mine! I'll take it! Die, vermin! Get your weapons ready! We found one! Stay back, beast! Remember your vows, friends! Fear no evil! We will crush it! We have to stop it! He's a killer!
Good evening, Xiaoshu.
Wang Shanghao, Dr. Reed. It's good to see you again.
What are you doing with your time, now that you're back in Whitechapel?
I've decided to help the poor and sick of the neighborhood by handing out medicine.
That's very charitable of you. But why do it at night?
I've noticed that the most desperate people tend to go out after dark. Hence my presence, to help them when I can.
Giving out medicine? How can you afford to do that?
I am a rich widow, Dr. Reed. My departed husband left me enough money to last the rest of my life. I can spend some on those who don't have any.
Why don't you move to a better neighborhood?
I thought about it, I confess. To go back to the same empty home every day still hurts me a lot.
Why stay here then?
I am a woman of habit, Dr. Reed. And for now, I am happier being useful in a familiar place than I would be anywhere else.
How do you feel now that you're back in Whitechapel?
I've decided to follow your advice, sir. I won't forget the dead, but my efforts will be for the living.
I've no doubt. That is a wise and useful attitude in this part of town.
To be completely honest with you, I'm also doing this for myself. If I'm destined to survive this epidemic, I need my life to have some purpose.
Do you still think about your departed husband?
Of course I do. I'll never forget my beloved Matthew, but how do I put it? Now I miss him more than I want him back.
I know what you mean. And I think it means you're getting better.
Maybe death will take me the way it took Matthew. Without warning and without mercy. But until then, I live on.
How do you feel? Physically speaking, I mean.
I'm as well as can be expected, Doctor.
Goodbye for now.
Its effectiveness has been proven by many. Even the flu is no match for the Swanborough cordial.
Good evening, Mr. Whitaker.
It's Father Whitaker, my son. So, are you still lost in your rational delusions?
What do you mean when you say that I am more lost than you thought?
All scientists are entangled in a world of causes and consequences. And
quite a judgmental.
But you...
Well, what do you...
The beast.
I have... Good evening, Mr. Whitaker.
It's Father Whitaker, my son. So, are you still lost in your rational delusions?
Why did you send Samuel to the cemetery, Tobias? What did you see there?
I sent him on a vision. A dream of a dreadful and laughing queen covered with blood, sleeping with the dead and feeding on the fear of the dying.
You sent a man to die because of a stupid vision. I have heard enough of your nonsense. Goodbye. Good evening, Mr. Whitaker.
It's Father Whitaker, my son. So, are you still lost in your rational delusions?
Don't you fear getting sick yourself?
Faith gives me all I need, my son. If I must fall, then so be it.
No doubt your faith will prevail, but let me give you some extra protection against the devil's work. Medicine.
Blessed be your generosity, my son.
I have heard enough for tonight. Goodbye.
Fancy buying something, sir?
You never lose your focus, do you? Do you need help, sir?
To be honest, I'd prefer you take a look at my stuff. I'd rather be rich and sick than the contrary.
I don't quite agree, but I won't argue with you. Please, take this. You'll feel better.
Really? Free? Don't take it personally, but charity usually comes at a price. Human nature being what it is.
Goodbye for now, Mr. Lewis.
Never have taken up my father's business.
Again.
I cannot enter.
Its effectiveness has been proven by many. Even the flu is no match for the Swanborough cordial. When science fails you, this elixir will give you...
won't end up another drunk arsehole littering the streets. Not me.
Die, vermin!
Pembroke is so lucky to have Dr. Reed, you know. I met him in New York.
If only there were more of us, with less resignation and more determination.
I know I can leave. I feel sick. Get over here now! Please, sir. I can't let you through. Not a safe place. There's one of them! Watch yourselves! Die, vermin! Shoot! Didn't they sound like that, do ya? Over there! There's one of them vermin!
I can't believe I'm doing this. It's locked.
This could be the public house Giselle Paxton mentioned. I should investigate further.
The leech, boys! Fuck, he's dead!
Giselle's stolen money. Prewen has some
ways of financing their war.